Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today we are going to be releasing, finally, Will Still's fantastic 4-2-3-1. Now, we're going to have a slightly different format to this video because I'm going to do a little bit of education on exactly who Will Still is for those who don't know. So we're going to be looking into that, understanding how he plays. But if you guys do enjoy these tactic videos, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and do come over and watch me on Twitch now. We do stream on there pretty much daily. We do multiple things such as saves, we do viewer drafts. It's a ton of fun. Loads of you guys have come over already. Be sure to get on the hype train, come on over and have a good time. But let's get into this video and see exactly who Will Still is. So, who is Will Still? Well, Will Still is very known in the Football Manager community because he actually did sort of get the taste of the game through the game, if that makes sense. And like his brother, who's actually a head coach in one of the Belgium's top flights, they both sort of come up with tactics through playing Football Manager, which is always interesting to see because it just makes us dream. You know, it makes us dream, and you never know, But what we're going to see here is he's still currently studying for his UEFA Pro license, which means that every time he manages reims, they do pick up a £22,000 fine. And the reason why they're probably still rolling with this is because he's actually unbeaten, I believe, as of recording. He's picked up a few draws in there, which is to be expected because he does play quite a cautious 4-2-3-1 style. But overall, I actually think this is it's a bit of history, right? Because not many teams would take the gamble on him, but it's actually quite good to see it paying off because this opens up a whole new sort of world to football, as in, are bigger teams going to start looking? Because in reality, I know they're not PSG, but it's a very big opportunity for them. We're not talking about, you know, a championship team or a Sky Bet League 2 team. We're talking about a team, you know, that is one of European's top divisions. I know it's not the most competitive, but it still is a very, very big division nevertheless. And we can go on to understand here. We're going to briefly skim this, but just to get a rough understanding of him. He does roll out with a 4-2-3-1, which does not surprise me at all. It can transition when they build from the back into a 4-1-2-3, but we're going to focus more on the 4-2-3-1 today. They're the only two tactics, or formation, should I say, that he does use. We can actually see here as well, briefly, I'm going to try and highlight it for you. So during from the build-up, they look to go long from the keeper, but at times they look to build up from the back, and that is when, they do deploy that 4-1-2-3. But typically, they do go long from the keeper, so that's exactly what we're going to try and replicate in this tactic. Upon dragging in opponents, the centre-backs usually prefer to go long to find the striker and avoid going through the middle to reduce the risk of losing possession. So a lot of the play is done on the wings, so obviously we are going to be focusing the play down the wings, and also it's not going to be short tiki-taka because, to be honest, this does sound, what I'm getting a vibe for is a very sort of counter-cautious 4-2-3-1 that obviously takes advantage of using the wide areas, including the fullbacks and the wingers, and the midfield's more of a defensive unit. And that's a very safe way to play, and obviously it's doing him well because obviously he's yet to lose a game as of recording. But one thing he doesn't do is have possession much, as we can see here. Unfortunately, no team has seen less of the ball in that division. Only 42% possession has been, you know, recorded, which isn't the best. But there again, it is getting results. And I always say this, you don't need possession all the time to get results. And obviously, the team that he's managing, although it is a good team in terms of stature, it's not obviously one of the best teams in that division. So you've got to play somewhat cautiously. You know, you can't go out and play the most attacking tiki-taka football, especially against the likes of PSG. But this is sort of just a rough understanding. Like I said, there's not too much here, and it was quite hard to sort of get a lot of info on him. But this is the most accurate sort of website I've seen about him, and it was quite cute. You know, it was really fun to learn about him. Like I said, there is going to be a link in the description where you can check this out and you can read all the other paragraphs as well. But I wanted to do a quick rundown of this video because obviously he's a manager which not everyone might not have heard of. Everyone that plays FM probably should have done, because obviously that's why, I think my guess is why he's been so popularly requested on this channel, not only because of the results he's getting, but also because of the fact, you know, he come up through FM. He's made it very public in multiple interviews that is, you know, that was his game, that he played the passion, and that's exactly what we want to see. And this is good for FM as well, because it just makes people think, you know, is this going to be a route which a few clubs possibly, especially you might see it in the lower leagues now, they might turn to it. They can afford to pay the fines, you never know. But for me, I hope he goes on to do great things, don't get me wrong. I hope he is able to get this pro license. I'm sure he's going to be getting a ton of help from reims to actually accomplish that, so they can eliminate this £22,000 per game fine, because at the moment he's absolutely flying. So it would make sense for the club to obviously back him and try and get him through that, because he could be a long-term solution. You never know. So we're going to get into the testing phase, and we are obviously going to start off with reims. Now we are going to do it with two teams today, and that is going to be looking at two perspectives really, both in the French league. We're going to be testing with reims and then with PSG, just to see the difference, see exactly what we can do with an underdog side and also an elite side. And the reason why we're doing two is because we are going to obviously take a lot more time to break down the tactic and explain it, because this is not your usual video. You know, this isn't a manager which has had a lot of, you know, articles made on him. He hasn't had a rich history yet. He might in the future. So we've had to do quite a bit of digging, to be honest, to try and replicate this as much as we can, and hopefully you guys like it and it gets results, because for me it done really good, especially with reims, as we're seeing here. A second place finish, only 3 points behind PSG, which I must say is really good, considering I think they're predicted to finish around 10th in this division. So a very good performance there. We were the second best at scoring goals in 90, and also the second best only conceding 32. So this tells me obviously we're a little bit worse than PSG, which I think is to be expected. I mean, PSG's team is genuinely nuts, but overall still a very solid performance. And as you can see here, in terms of the players' stats, we'll go into that first. We're going to have 45 goals here coming in from Balgoon, who's obviously a loanee player, a player which looks absolutely incredible, I must say. We'll take a look at him. Very well-rounded attributes for this division. Obviously a 4.5 star in this division. Good finishing, good acceleration, good pace, a genuine very good player. 45 goals coming out from him. We've got he's actually out on loan. We've got 11 goals here coming in from Gutain. We've got Castune coming in with 7. We've got Ito coming in with 7. 6 coming in from Zanili. Another here with 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3. So, you know, it's not like tons and tons of goals. A lot of the pressure was being put on the shoulders of Balogun. But in this tactic, it pretty much is, because obviously the ball is getting sort of fed long a lot to the striker. So a lot of the chances are going to be going to him. And a lot of the wide players are going to be looking to obviously cut in and either shoot themselves, but mainly try and find assists. And if we filter by assists, we have got a few coming here, as you can see, from some of the wide players. This is more of an AM, but we've got Zanini coming in with 21. We've got 13 from Ito, Gutain coming in with 11, 6 from Loco, Busi with 5, 4 from Kajute, 4 coming in for Mbunku, I believe is how you say that. I do apologise if I got that wrong. Hong coming in with 3, 3 coming in from Matwisa. And to be honest, it's a very, you know, there's tons of assists here from pretty much loads of players. I say tons. Sort of 4 and upwards is somewhat decent, because some of these players obviously are wing backs as well, which do look to get involved. But I must say, obviously, the better your team, obviously, the more sort of chances we're going to see, the better stat lines they're going to be. It's just common sense. I'm sure when we go into PSG, these stats, there's going to be more goals coming out with several different players. But this just goes to show that this tactic does also work with a team that isn't favoured to do that well in this division. And I think any reims fans would snap your hand off with a second place finish. We're going to go into the data hub, general performance. So we're going to look here, 2.37 goals per game, which in this division with this team, I'll happily take. But this is the bit which really impresses me. The 0.84, I wanted to get this right, because when reading that sort of, you know, report on how he plays, it does strike me to be quite a cautious 4-2-3-1. When I say that, it doesn't mean the mentality is going to be set to cautious, but in real life, it does strike me to be a sort of a cautious 4-2-3-1. They sort of, you know, they counter when they can. When they get the ball, they go long, they try and get the goal, and then they sounds to me like they're going to try and hold on to it. And that is pretty much what we've done. And if we look into the schedule real quickly, it's not going to be flawless, but you can see here we actually went on a really impressive spree. Now I know this is a mixture of draws and wins, but it's still a very impressive thing to do with this team. And in here, I mean, a 3-0 win against PSG, so it just goes to show that even head to head we can take on these sides. They do, however, get revenge on us down here in a 1-0 win in the division, but it was an 86th minute winner, so it was still a very close game. We got another nice little spree here. So this just goes to show, you know, you can do this with a team that isn't favoured at all in the division and still go on a very impressive run. And who knows, I mean, if I was actually playing this save personally, we possibly could have won the division, because obviously you can make little tweaks in the tactic as you go along. But for me, a very first amazing test. So we're going to switch things up today. We're actually going to break down the tactic before the second test, just because it is going to be a lot more in detail. There's a lot more to discuss, but it's actually built around a custom direct counter-attack. It's what it originally was sort of developed from. A positive mentality. Now you can go with balanced. Just with this, you are going to obviously be a little bit more safe when it comes to conceding, but you are also going to pick up a lot more draws. That's what I personally noticed. This would be perfect if you are playing as a sort of really low sort of side in your current division, and you are happy to scrape out draws and happy to get any sort of points you can sort of fight for. But if you've got enough quality, I would recommend going for positive, because there isn't too much difference, but you will notice a few more goals going in for your side. In possession, you want to have fairly wide. Now, obviously, we noticed that they do use the flanks quite often, so we're going to be focusing the play down the left and the right. We pass into space because, you know, they do look for them long balls. A slightly higher tempo, slightly shorter, because we're not going to go much more direct or slightly more direct, because then you will uselessly thump the ball, in my opinion. But slightly shorter, you still get them long passes being played, and play for set pieces with mixed crosses. Now, if you're chasing a game, just on this tab alone, you could definitely look to up the tempo, you could be more expressive, you could run at defence, you could possibly even take the play for set pieces off and focus more on getting the goals just through standard play. In transition, you want counter press, counter, distribute quickly, and distribute over the opposition defence. Now, we've done our best here, because obviously they do go long from goal kicks sometimes, and also, you know, we've got in this sort of screen here, play out from the back as well. So I'm trying to get everything in, and it might, you know, it might be down to you guys to take one of these off. Possibly, if you don't like this idea, you could distribute to the centre backs and purely go down that route from playing from the back. But just to replicate it, I feel like this is the best option. Out of possession, you want a standard defensive line and a high press line of engagement with much more often. And in terms of actual, you know, possibly what you could tweak, again, if you're defending a game, you could definitely you could even look to lower the tempo. You could be more disciplined. For example, in transition, nothing much you can really do here. You can slow the pace down, for example. Out of possession, you could look to lower the line a little bit, but for me, that sometimes just invites on too much pressure. It's more the player roles what we can do to possibly defend games, but I'm starting to add this element into the videos as well, where I do tell you what you can do to chase a game or defend a game, because it gets asked a lot in the Twitch chat to be included. So also, if you haven't, by the way, little plug, we are going to quickly plug it. Do come over to the Twitch. It is twitch.tv/JOSHDXLY. It's Josh Daily, but replace the A from the daily with an X. The link is in the description, and there'll be several pop-ups come up in this video. I'd love to see you there. A lot of you guys have come over, and you're getting involved in the viewer fantasy drafts, and it's a ton of fun. So be sure to come over. But player roles then. Now, I've done my best to sort of replicate this down to a T. Now, the main thing we're going to focus on, obviously, is the fact that the midfield is going to be set to quite a defensive, so we've not got a box-to-box sort of vibe in there, because they strike me as more defensive midfield players that also do look to sort of create longly, sort of play long balls over the top. The wingers are the main sort of thing in this team, obviously looking to come inside, shoot balls, shoot the ball more often, sorry, and, you know, that type of vibe is pretty much what I got from, you know, looking at the analytical point of view. But going into the player roles, I'm going to start off with a sweeper keeper on support, on take more risks. The fullbacks run wide with the ball and get further forwards, because the fullbacks, to me, I watched a few highlights. They semi get involved, in my opinion. So I would like them to get further forwards, but not enough to, you know, warrant them to be on attack or anything like that. And the other fullback is exactly the same. In terms of the defenders, we've got a ball playing defender on defend, take more risks and hold position, and next to him we've got a central defender on defend, shoot less often, dribble less, and hold position. Going over to the midfield, we've got a deep line playmaker on support, shoot less often, take more risks, and hold position, and next to him we've got a Roman playmaker on support, take more risks, and roam from position. I feel like this works very well, because obviously we've got a playmaker here, and a deep line playmaker is just really good, because it just, I don't know, we've done this, by the way, in the Dezabi tactic. We had sort of 3 playmakers, and it worked really, really well. And I'm getting a real good feeling about this for this year. I feel like it is a good way to go forward, and it does suit this tactic really well. Then on the left-hand side, we've got an inverted winger on attack, shoot more often, dribble more, cut inside with the ball, and get further forwards. And on the right-hand side, it is exactly the same. We then have an advanced playmaker on attack, get further forwards, roam from possession. I always mix them up. Possession and position. Position, move into channels, shoot less often, dribble more, and take more risks. And then advance forward on attack, shoot more often, and move into channels. Now, you can look to change this if you have to an attacker midfielder, or you could have a shadow striker. If you wanted to go a little bit more attacking, you know, possibly you got a player that prefers that role, you could change that. With the wingers, if you are defending a game, you could drop this and sort of put it into a low 4-4-2, to be honest with you, if you put this player up here, or, you know, that would be the main thing I look to tweak. Or obviously, if you really want to go defensive, you could look to drop one of these into sort of an anchor role, drop this player back here and sort of roll out with a 4-3-3. One thing that is so good about the typical 4-2-3-1 is mid-game it is so easy to change it, and you can make multiple tweaks with the tactic. But that is going to be the actual tactic broken down in terms of the player roles and also obviously the team instructions. I've gone over a few things you can tweak, but any questions, be sure to ask in the comments below. If you are enjoying it so far, be sure to leave a like on it, and please do subscribe. But obviously I'm going to go over and test with some more teams. It's going to be PSG, watch some of the goals, because I just thought I'd switch the video up a little bit today. So then, PSG, the expected happened. I mean, we absolutely dominated the French division. I just wanted to test with PSG because obviously the other team we tested with, his current side, are also in the French league as one of the sort of underdog teams. And I wanted to see exactly what would happen in the same league, but with the best of the best. And as you can see, we dominated it. We also won the French Cup and the Trophy de Champions. Unfortunately, getting knocked out in the semi-finals against Milan in what was a very close tie, but just, you know, not enough firepower. And this is one of them scenarios where I feel like if I was managing, for that fixture alone, I probably would have gone more attacking because I feel like PSG can sort of out-alpha them. They've got the better players, and I feel like, especially going forward, we could have dominated. That is one game which I feel like we definitely could have won if we were actually managing and not simulating. We scored 159 goals and only conceded 8. Now, I know this is with PSG. Their defence is ridiculous for this division. They've also got, obviously, Donnarumma, who is absolutely nuts. But the defence is ridiculous on this tactic, I must say. I mean, it's a nice mixture of, obviously, them two sort of defensive midfield players doing their roles as well. You've obviously got the back four, which, you know, aren't too overcommitted. The centre-backs aren't committed at all. And you partner that with playing with a very, very good side, you're going to get these type of results. In terms of the squad, goals now, we're going to have 73 goals and 21 assists coming in from Kylian Mbappe. We've got 54 goals and 30 assists from Neymar. Messi, we've got 21 goals and 30 assists. Sarabia, 20 goals and 16 assists. Soler coming in with 16 goals and 14 assists. We've got Ramos with 6 goals and assists. Vitinha, 4 goals, 13 assists. 4 and 4 out of Renato Sanchez. 4 and 2 coming out of Marquinhos. Fabian with 3 and 3. 2 and 10 here coming out from Verratti. 1 and 12 coming out from Hakimi. Even if we go down here, we're going to have Mendes coming in with 11. 5 down here for Bernat. Now, this is exactly what I was saying. The better team you have, the more contributions you're going to see. So this is a perfect example. Obviously, Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi is arguably the best front three you're going to have in FM. And when you do have these sort of players, you can see that even the wingers are cutting in. They're getting goals. 54 from Neymar coming in. We're going to have 21, which is still quite a decent amount of goals for a winger in this division. 21 goals from Messi, with also very good assists. So we're seeing now that front three working together very, very well. And obviously Mbappe is going to always be the star goal scorer because he is the striker. And in this system, that is going to be typically the goal scorer, unlike other systems where the wingers might get more. I know obviously in the 4-3-3, it was going to be one of the wingers that we done. My ultimate 4-3-3 we posted before. The wingers actually got equal amount of goals. But in this scenario, the striker is always going to get most of the goals. But the wingers have got a good opportunity to get involved. In terms of the data hub, then, general performance, absolutely dominant. 4.18 goals per game, which is absolutely ridiculous, and conceded only 0.21. So a very, very defensive, and it's just a ridiculous display in my opinion. A very, very good season and a dominant one at that. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick out a couple of games just to watch and see. Hopefully we can see how these chances get created and see what you can expect. Tell you what we're going to do. We are actually going to watch just this game alone because there is going to be 10 goals inside this game. So we're going to get through it and hopefully we can see a nice mixture of goals. I mean, this is an absolute thump, and this is, we win the ball back quite high up the field there. Not going to come from long, but instead a little bit of play, and Mbappe sort of gets lucky with that one, in my opinion. I feel like the goalkeeper definitely could have done better. You can see us down the flanks here, making the most of it, obviously focusing the play down the left and the right with Lionel Messi from the wide area, cutting it inside, and that's exactly what we want to be seeing because that is exactly how they play in real life. Focusing play down the left and the right, sort of driving it back into the centre at the last ditch to get the goal. Again, play coming a little bit more centralised here, but a little, I mean, that is beautiful from Messi. What a ball from Soler. Messi first time finish into the bottom left-hand corner. Again, focusing down the left, a little switcheroo from Mbappe, a great touch. And again, we saw it on that website. You saw it how they like to switch from the flank. So from the right, they'll either hit the left or they'll just play a ball over the top. And we're seeing that already inside of only 4 goals. We're seeing pretty much an identical replica. Fabian, again, looking to go a bit more centralised here, but a great run from Neymar, who gets right through to the centre. Obviously drifts in again, the winger cutting in, causing issues, gets into almost a striker position there and gets to the goal. Messi with the ball into the box. It's a great touch from Soler and a fantastic finish. Messi really did thrive with this formation as well, I must say. Neymar again running at the define. Did I just say running at the define? Running at the defensive line, plays it into Mbappe, plays it back into Neymar, and again, it's beautiful link-up play. We are seeing a little bit of this passing that you can do with this system as well. Hakimi on the flank, on the right-hand side, into Sarabia, Is he going to cut it back? He is into our poor defender from Lacey, and it's going to be Emery, who does get quite a gifted goal, to be honest. Still done the job of putting it away, but a bit of a gift there. Mendes win the ball pretty high up the field. Mbappe, ball over the top into Akite, obviously one of PSG's pretty hot prospects, to be fair, who tucks it into the bottom right corner and makes it 9. 10th goal to come as Sarabia goes down the flank again on the right-hand side. A ball into the box, and it's going to be Starman Akite again getting another goal in what was a very, very, very dominant game against a team which we should be beating, let's face it, but the stats were absolutely brutal, all in our favour. And I feel like it's to be expected, but still a very, very good display. But guys, that is going to be the video broken down. We've done a little bit of research. We've obviously watched a few games. We've gone over the results. We've also gone over the tactic and the player roles. If you guys have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on this one. Subscribe to the channel. Do come over and watch me on Twitch. As I said, you can see the links in the description. Also, you can join the Discord. It's completely free, and there's loads of stuff going on in there. But that is going to be it for me today, guys, and I will see you in the next one.